Hi everyone, welcome to my next video. This one is Launchbox. So installing Launchbox on Windows to get up and running. This is basically another front end. I think I've covered majority of front ends available now for different systems, but haven't done Launchbox yet. And this is one of the big ones. Been around for a long time. I've used it for a long time. It's really good for Windows. So yeah, they're basically a free version and a premium version which you can pay for, and you obviously get some more features etc. with the paid version, but we'll come on to that. We're going to start off just install the free version. Anyone can do this. It's unlimited, so some systems can limit you to what you can do with the free version, sort of number of games etc. But Launchbox doesn't do that. And I like it for putting my games into quite a big collection. Being able to basically organise them and sort them. It's really good. You'll see from the interface it's quite good for doing that, and obviously also for playing it. It's really good for playing the games as well. So a good all-round nice front-end interface. So without further ado, we'll crack on and download. Also there's a version for Android as well, which is totally different in look and feel than it is for Windows. Windows is where this started off. So what you need to do, basically the way they do it is you enter your email address here and click download. It will then email you a link to download it. Not quite sure why I did it this way around. It may be just they get your email address and they can send you updates and that kind of stuff, which I presume you can opt out of. But yeah, basically enter your email address in the box, click on the download button, and it will say thank you very much, email on its way. Check your inbox, you'll have an email with them saying click here to download. As simple as that, which I've already done that, so just move this out of the way for a minute. So I've got it downloaded here. Latest version at the time of making the video is 13.1. So yeah, once you're finished, you've downloaded this. 267 megs, so it's not tiny, but not too big. So also we'll just double click here to install. Pick your install language. Accept the last agreement that everyone reads, obviously. Now the good thing about Launchbox is it is portable by default. So by default it installs to your profile directory Windows, but if you want you can install it wherever you want, and you can even install it to like a location, maybe like a USB drive or something, as long as it's, I'd recommend a high performance one, at least USB 3, probably an SSD, that kind of stuff. Obviously you might find it a bit laggy, a bit boggy if you don't do that. But the other good thing is about this, because it's portable, you could also install it to a location that's maybe synced with OneDrive or Dropbox or an online cloud storage service, so you could then use it for multiple devices and also always have the same library of games. That's another option. But yeah, it's quite handy being portable. So what I'm going to do for this is install it to a separate drive, just so we can see in action. So yeah, I'll stick it onto my X drive, probably called Launchbox. Yeah, start menu and go. So it's quite quick. I was going to pause the video at this point, but to be honest, it looks like it's going pretty quick, so we'll just bear with it for a second. Yeah, I've had a little break from videos at the moment just because it's two of my boys' birthdays last week and they were on half term from school, and I've been ill as well, so yeah, bit of a break from the videos, but hopefully back now with regular updates. Right, okay, so once it installs, it prompts you to install DirectX. I mean, you probably already have it anyway if you've played any type of games on your PC, but it will go through doing install and update if it needs to. Also, if you've got it installed, you don't have to worry, but just let it do its thing. It will work it out whether it needs it or not. It all kind of happens silently anyway, so there you go, that seems to have finished, and now it's going to start. Just minimize this out of the way. So this is the little launch thing you get. Right, so basically we've got an empty interface here. You would have all your games in the background here, and different categories, etc. But obviously we're starting from blank. So you get a whole bunch of options here. What you can do, how you want to start. You can see all the different types of games it supports, Windows games, etc. and Steam and GOG, Epic Games, and things like Fortnite, I guess. But what we're going to do is start with just a basic import of ROMs. So I've got some ROMs to import as a demo. I've got some Mega Drive games and PS1 as well. So we just hit the top option to import some ROMs. It'll take you through a wizard. Everything's kind of wizard driven, and it takes you through step by step. So it should be fine for the novice, up to the expert. So Firstly, now it's going to ask us, okay, so where's the ROMs you want to import? So I'll say add. You can do individual files, but I'm going to do it by folder. So on the root of my C drive, I've got a folder here for Mega Drive, and I know there's a whole bunch of Mega Drive games in there, which I'll just here show you quickly. So, yeah, roughly 101 games in there. .md files for Mega Drive or Genesis, if you're for North America. So we just select that folder. Put it into a list there. So you can add more than one if you've got games for this system. I'd only recommend obviously adding one system. You probably only can on one system at a time. But if you've got some Mega Drive games scattered about, which I probably wouldn't recommend, but if you did, you can obviously add multiple files and multiple folder locations in here. When you're happy, hit next. It's identified already that it's Sega Genesis. If for whatever reason that is incorrect, you can browse the list and say actually no, it's this system, but it's recognised it correctly, so we'll say yep, that's great, carry on. Now this is, well, I say relatively new. Probably about a year ago they introduced this feature where it now integrates with RetroArch. So basically for most systems you can use RetroArch and it will download, install, configure it all for you in the background. In the past you'd have to download the emulators separately, add them as an emulator into Launchbox, and then say okay, for this system use this emulator. But in recent times I've updated it, like I say, to have RetroArch kind of integrated. So you can manually still configure emulator if you want to, but I'd recommend going here, especially if you're a beginner. And also you can also change this later on. This is just for the initial setup. So this is the option to actually move the files. So I've got them in my C drive at the moment in that demo folder. So you can say using the location, so they'll stay where they are, or you can move them, or you can copy them. So either really, obviously just take into account if you've got a large set of ROMs you're adding in, it's going to take a little bit of time to copy them over. But I would recommend either doing copy or move, so they're then all going to be, you can see here, under that Launchbox folder, under the games folder, so it keeps them all nicely organised for you. So I would recommend doing that. So I'm going to say copy in this occasion. And this is the option to download metadata for your game, so definitely recommend to do this. So this will be all the stuff about the year of release for the game, manufacturer, number of players, the description, all that kind of metadata about the game, all the brings life to your collection. So yeah, leave that ticked and hit next. This part here is all the different artwork and images you can download. So there's screenshots, fan art, sort of background imagery, logos, and the box artwork, all that kind of stuff. Normally I just recommend leave this all ticked. If you have unselected anything, you can always click check all to put everything back again. You may want to, if storage is limited, you could then trim these down, untick ones you don't want, because there's things like the flyer and pictures of the arcade cabinet if it's arcade machines you're adding, all that kind of stuff. So you don't necessarily need all of them. And if you are adding hundreds or thousands of games, obviously the amount of artwork can soon add up. So you could go through and untick everything, but obviously that's down to you. But I'll just leave everything ticked for now. And then, so yeah, Emu Movies is what it uses to actually scrape the artwork. And normally, if you've got a free account with them, you download all kind of the static artwork. If you've got a paid subscription with them, you can download video snaps as well. So I don't think I'll better go past unless it. Okay, let me go past it. That's good. Bezel project is basically, as you see here, kind of the bezels on the outside of the screen. But for the moment, I'll just skip that. There's a whole bunch of options in here about importing and duplicate games, and download copies of the manuals that are available, all that kind of stuff, and using folder names instead of ROM. But pretty much you can leave these as defaults unless you need to change anything. Now we're here next. So these are all the files it's found in that folder. Which should be all of them. So we'll just hit finish. So refreshing the local metadata. So there's actually an XML file, metadata.xml, which basically holds a whole bunch of metadata for each system for all the games. Obviously that gets updated regularly, so it downloads a copy of that for your system and then uses that to match the games, and like I say, filling all that metadata, all the stuff like who, publisher, the year of release, number of players, the genre, all that kind of stuff. So we'll just let this happen. So I might just quickly pause here while it does this, because depending on the speed of my internet and obviously the number of games you're adding, it could take a little while. So I'll just pause it for a second. Yeah, so that's finally finished. The refresh the metadata. Now you can see it's downloading RetroArch for us, which is good. You have to faff about doing it manually yourself. It's going to download and install that for us. Again, that'll probably take a couple of minutes to download. So pause there for a second. Right, I can see there that's the RetroArch bit is now finished, and now it's basically carrying on to download all the artwork. So see everything's popping in there now. See all the games are added, and it's done 101, which is what I had in the folder, which is good. So support every single one. So now this is going to sit here now and download all that artwork, which, like I say, is going to take a little while. So I'll let it run, and I'll probably end up just pausing the video again till it's done that, because you don't want to sit here and watch that download. But just out of interest, show what it's done in the background. So like I say, I installed it to the X drive and the Launchbox folder, so it's all self-contained. And when I said copy the ROMs across, it's put them into a subfolder called Games, a new subfolder called Genesis, and there's all the ROMs I imported. It's put them in there. So obviously it's put them all in one place, all under the Launchbox folder. So the Launchbox folder is now portable. You can take it wherever you go. Other folders of interest in here, you got the images folder. So again, this is where all those different types of artwork we were downloading are going. So you can see on the screen here, by default it's showing the 2D box. So box 4 maybe? No, which one is it? Box front. Here, and this actually splits them into where it's downloaded them from. Strong, yeah. There we go. Found one eventually. So there's the one there. That's where it stores all the images. Any manuals it finds go in here. Hasn't found it yet. Emulators. So they all build up in here. So we have RetroArch, which is, obviously it's just done for us. It's installed that in the background. So here's the whole RetroArch platform with the exe to launch it. Various cores go in here. So the whole bunch out of the box. And I will show it later on, but if you want to add other emulators other than RetroArch should cover most things, but more the high-end systems you want to add a separate emulator for, you can basically install them into here and then add them into Launchbox, but I'll show you how to do that a bit further on. And that metadata I was talking about, so this is the XML file, nearly 400 meg, well, sorry, nearly 360. So this is a whole bunch of metadata for all these games and all the other systems it supports, so that's why it's quite a big file to download, but it only does it periodically. So yeah, there's other things in here for the big box is actually well wait for this download. We can talk about big box. So that's I'll do a bit more detail about it later on, but basically this is one of the premium features. So what you've got here on screen now is the standard interface, and as it builds up you have your different platforms and stuff down the side here, and you can browse through the games and show them by different artwork types. But the default here is obviously the box, but big box is more of a kind of full screen controller driven interface, a more artwork driven interface where you can have various themes. So yeah, it's designed to be kind of like, if you're running it in a cabinet or you're running a dedicated PC and you're running it full screen, you can run it in big box mode. And like I say, that is a premium feature, so you need the paid version of Launchbox to run that. And there's a few other features that come with it, like I said, we'll come on to. But yeah, big box is the kind of big full screen type interface, whereas this is the standard interface where you can still do all the same things. You can still obviously import your games that we just done. We can run and play them, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you want to have everything kind of controller driven, and you can also do that with Big Box. So yeah, I think that's okay for now. We'll let that run. Hopefully this will speed up a little bit in a minute. So yeah, I'll pause it there. Yeah, in hindsight, I probably should have downloaded less games. But anyway, I'll let it finish. And once it's finished, we'll move on to a couple of PS1 games to add in, and then after that, we'll add in another emulator. We're going to add an emulator for PS2. So you can see how to add your own emulators in, and a bit more around the menu and different bits and pieces that you can do. So yeah, I'll pause here, let this finish, and then I'll be back. Right, as you can see, this is still going. My internet, for whatever reason, is a bit of a go slow. So what I'm going to do is, obviously this is all the artwork, so we don't really need it for the kind of the guide. So I'm just going to cancel here, and then I will quickly show you how you kind of pick it off again if you need to. So it should just finish anything that's running. Give it a couple of seconds to do that. Okay, so there you go, it's finished now. It's downloaded 320 items. So there's some errors, but would you like to view them? Let's view them. So there's a couple of timeouts. So I think my internet's playing up a little bit, but yeah. So it's downloaded all these. So it's got a whole bunch. So that's obviously good enough to show what it should look like. And then obviously when you're in here, you can then obviously change the view. Between showing the images or showing as a list like this. So here's all the games, obviously in kind of a more detailed view. And when I was talking earlier about the metadata, yeah, things you've got the title of the game, but also so the platform, the developers, publishers, release date, rating, all that kind of stuff. That's all the metadata that it pulls in. Basically, a whole bunch more information. But we'll go back to image view in a moment. And then yeah, if you do need to rescan it again, come over here and then download metadata and media for all games, and that will take you through the same wizard. There's a search. Click all the stuff you want to download, and eventually hit next and finish, and it'll go through the same process again and download everything. Only download what's missing. And then you can, that's for all systems. If you browse down and pick the system, or sorry, specific platform, you can then do the same thing again. You can go in here and you can download metadata either for all games. If you go in here and basically you can either pick a couple of games that are missing, or just do a Control A to pick all of them. And then when you go to the download option, tools, update for selected games, so that way it only does it for the games you want, not all your games again. So yeah, so that's how you do that. So just go through the process again. I'm going to import some PS1 games this time. So we go, whereas before we had the big wizard on screen, now we've done that once. So we're in kind of the normal interface. Come to the three lines here, the little burger menu, tools, import, ROMs. And same wizard as before, point it at the folder, so mine are on the C drive, PS1. Thankfully this time I've only got a couple of games, so yeah, it's identified it as PS1, and in PlayStation, we need RetroArch, and then we'll download a core if it requires it. If the core for PlayStation 1 is not there, it will download it for you. So for PS1, you do need a BAS file. Not all the systems need it, but some do. So you basically need to point it at the file, at the BAS file this time. If you don't have to write it now, but then it does say here that before you play it, you will need to put it into the RetroArch system folder, which, like I say, is where we've installed Launchbox 2. Under emulators, you'll see the RetroArch folder. And then under that you've got system, and that's where the BAS file would go. But I do have it, so I'll point it here. 3501 is there, and just hit next. And again, you can either leave the games where they are, or move or copy them into the into your Launchbox folder. So copy them across, and again search for metadata, pick everything, skip that bit, and hit next. I only got 3 games here, so should be nice and quick. So you see now we've now got another platform. So it will start. It's put these categorize these under consoles. If you then have other things like Amiga, that's a home computer, or arcade, you'll start getting categories of those. So it keeps them all organised for you. So yeah, here's the 3 games that have come in, and you see it's just downloading some of the artwork now. Yeah. It's going very slow. Anyway, I'll leave that run. So yeah, as you can kind of see now, that's how you add games in. They'll start to now add up, and as you add more and more systems, you build out your collection. Once you click on all up here, it will show all your games, so all mixed together. Like I say, you can then sort of drill down into different systems and platforms. And then obviously, again, as you select the game, you've got all the information here on the right hand side about the game itself, and obviously number of times you've played it, and that kind of stuff. If you don't click anything, you click on the actual platform itself, it gives you information about the actual platform. So the Genesis system, all the specs, same for PlayStation, all the specs of the actual PlayStation, which is quite cool. Yeah, so that's adding the games, and then so you're pretty much ready to go there. You just basically find a game, launch it, double click it, and away you go. Which I will do, but I'll just let this finish. Don't interrupt it. Any second now. Should just pop up so it's done. And again, it says it's got 2 errors there, but that could be there on my end. Come on. And there we go. It's downloaded a couple of errors, but yeah, they're going to be the same kind of thing. So yeah, again, we've got the games installed now. See, there's some background art which is blurred, some images that's downloaded for the game, in-game screenshots, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a real nice, rich experience. So that's those 2 added. Like I say, I should be ready to play now. So let's pick a game. Just double click. I'll launch it in RetroArch, and there you go. As easy as that. For my setup, I tend to use I do use a wireless Bluetooth Xbox One controller, and that works really well. Windows, but yeah, but pretty much whatever you want really. You can use any kind of game controller that's supported or recognised in Windows. So I'll just hit escape to come out of there. Escape twice. So that's them both set up. And again, same for PlayStation. Let's do Crash Bandicoot. Double click. To load it RetroArch using the Swan Station core. Yeah, boot into the game. So I'll just quit out of there. So that's how you add your systems and how you build them up. Obviously that's using RetroArch that's built in, and I did mention before that you can add I guess external emulators. So it's a game you don't want to run or does not support by RetroArch, or you think the standalone emulator is better, which sometimes the case. You can add your own. So as a demo for that, I've got a PS2 emulator, PSX or PCSX. So this is a copy of the actual emulator. I'm just going to take that and put it into the Launchbox folder under emulators. So it's also got RetroArch. I'm just going to paste that in there. So this is the PS2 emulator, and in there you see you've got the exe and then all the different files along with the emulator. So now what we can do is go to Launchbox, Again, go to Tools, Manage, and then Emulators. So we've got RetroArch listed. We simply say Add. So I'll call this PCSX2, isn't it? And then point it to the executable, which is where I've just put it on the X drive. Launchbox emulators, PCSX2. There's the emulator. There's a whole bunch of command line options that you could add in here. So you probably want to look these up on their support site to see what the actual command line is to run the app, because normally I guess this should run as a GUI, but in the end, from here we want Launchbox to launch it, so it will basically run it from the command line. And I'm pretty sure for this you have things like an option called No GUI that you add to it, which I think is something like that, and it shows you down here what it's actually going to run. So it's going to run the exe full screen with no GUI, and then the path to the ROM file, which obviously Launchbox knows, and it will pass that file, that path to the file, to the emulator on launch. There's a whole other bunch of stuff you can set in here, but they're the kind of main bits you need to set, and obviously then you can just test it. Associated platforms, so it's already it knows about that emulator, it knows that it's for PS2, so it's also already associated it as the default emulator for PS2, but obviously you could change this around if you need to. So that's the actual emulator added. Now we can close that. Now we're going to add some PS2 games. Import ROM files again. Back the same process, add on my C drive. Got some PS2 games in here. So I'll just say next. Identified it's PS2. Now for the emulator, because it's already, we added it and it's set it as a default, it also fills in here, but obviously we've now got two emulators we can pick, but we want to use this one. Again, we're going to copy the files into the Launchbox folder, download all the metadata, image, and there we go. So import them in, so they copy the games across to the Launchbox games folder. While it's downloading that, it feels a bit quicker this time. Let's have a quick look just to confirm. So that's the Launchbox games. We've now got all our Genesis games in here, PlayStation in here, and our PS2 in here. So like I say, even if you don't use Launchbox as your main front end, it's still really good for organising your games, and that's what I mainly use it for. I don't tend to play retro games on the PC too much. I run it on a separate PC, or I've got an arcade cabinet as well that I use, and also a Android NVIDIA Shield that I use as well. So on the PC is mainly about me, just about organising my collection, and Launchbox works really well for that. So again, it's going to import all the artwork, and as we see here, start downloading the artwork already, which is good. We've already got the information about the PS2 and all its specs. Obviously highlight again, you can get the same again. So that's kind of it. That's the basic of Launchbox, I guess. That's basic install. We've added 3 systems now quite quickly. First 2 running or using the default RetroArch emulator, which is all pre-configured for you. And then the PS2, like I say, we've added our own one. So we want to do things like add PS3 or Wii, all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously there's a Dolphin core with the RetroArch, but you might find the standalone version of the Dolphin is better for you, depending on what your system is. So you can obviously add that. And like I say, as you go through, you can add more emulators, add more systems, and your collection just grows and grows. So yeah, that's kind of it. So what we'll actually do is just let this finish, and then I'll just, like I said before, just a bit more about the premium features that you get with the paid version. Like I said, this is the free version. It's perfectly functional. You can basically do everything you need to do. You can see I've run games, etc. But just if you check the Launchbox website, so yeah, the main thing is when you get premium, there's the big box interface, as you call it, so you can have it basically play. If you're looking to play it on a big screen, and also you control everything through the controller, you got the big box interface, which I should be able to show in a minute. And again, with that, there's custom themes. There's these other bits and pieces you can see here, so you can basically get a real nice experience if you use the premium version. And the pricing is down here. Obviously, this is at the time of making the video, which is what, coming towards the end of February 23. So a regular license, which is what they got here for $30, which basically is a forever license, so you can use it forever. But if new features come out, you will then have to pay $15 in order to access the new features after a year. Or there's the forever version, which is basically you can use it forever, but then you also get all the new features that come along. They're included, so you get all the updates. That's 75. And there's an option here about upgrading between a regular license and a forever license. So yeah, that's the prices. And there's a whole bunch of screenshots here. So this is showing what Big Box looks like. So it's more that traditional kind of nice artwork for front end. Probably what you'd see on Emulation Station or RetroPie or Batocera or RetroBat. All those kind of front ends that kind of look like this. Either use Emulation Station or one of the other front ends. So yeah, it's up to you whether you want to go to the premium version. Let me just flick back to here. Yeah, it's finished now, so it's finished importing them. So what I will do is I'll just close this down. Like I said, this is just a demo version, and I'll spin up my version quickly on my installation. So Launchbox here. So you can see over time how the platform was built up. Here's all different platforms I've got added and the various games within them. Yeah, so quite a few systems added in here. Just to show you what I've done is, see over time as well, if you go to manage emulators, you can see here I've got quite a few added. I've added a whole bunch. Because I first set this up obviously before that integration with RetroArch was available. But like I say, I've got a whole bunch of external emulators added. And just double check actually that PS. Yeah. Oh, I forgot the. I added the no GUI, but I forgot the portable option within PSX2 to keep all the config local in that folder. So that's something to add. So yeah, that's how it looks. So like I say, now I've got the a license copy. I can launch Big Box. Obviously, there's options to set this as the default and to launch it with Windows if you've got a dedicated PC. So yeah, it's normally quicker than this. PC's a little bit slower while it's recording as well. But it's now going to launch the Big Box interface. With any luck. Oh, there we go. I haven't got my controller plugged in, but I'm just using the keyboard to scroll through. So this is one of the themes here. You can see, so it's all the kind of same information about the games, all the artwork at the bottom. And then, if I remember how to do it with the keyboard, I'm going to manage themes. And so what have I got installed? Unirefine, and there's a whole bunch to use. So I go to available. See, there's some quite nice themes there to use. I'll give you a little screenshot of most of them. Again, like I say, my internet's been a little bit slow, so not all coming through very quickly. But like I say, there's a whole bunch to basically browse through. And pick one you like and install it. Yeah, that's the actual. It's just a really nice interface. Like I say, it works really well on a large screen. There's loads of options in here to then filter and show different views at all games or view platforms, or by genre or developer, all that kind of stuff, all the kind of good stuff. So this is what kind of Bitbox looks like. Probably not going to be able to download a theme too quickly, I don't think. But yeah, you basically click on the one you want and click on install, and it'll do it for you. Go and grab it, download it. I mean, obviously, normally this will be full screen, but the monitor I'm using at the moment is like an ultra wide screen. So at the moment there's borders, and on each side you can see, not quite full screen. So, but I'm sure we could sort that out. Right, so that was installed successfully. Thank you very much. Now I'm just going to apply as a main theme. And there we go. A bit more of a simple theme, but some really nice graphics in there. Yeah, that's Big Box. If we go back, somewhere, it's an option to exit. Find it. Yeah, so I mean, like I say, if you've got it booted up, you can still use this to control the PC and basically reboot or shut down the PC. So I'll just exit out here and exit back out. So that's Big Box. Like I said, there's other few features to premium. So obviously take a look and make a decision. But yeah, like I say, to use this as simply manage your collection and play with the free version works perfectly fine. So yeah, that's it. That's any questions, let me know in the comments. As you'll see in the description, I've set up a Facebook group and a Discord server, so you can have the chat further. If any more questions, any requests, any other random questions, just pop them in there, say hello. And obviously, please like the video if you liked it. Hopefully you did, if it was useful, and obviously please subscribe. This channel is growing, but it's still growing quite slowly, but I'd really appreciate if people could subscribe. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, hope it was useful. Any comments, let me know. Any requests, let me know, and I'll catch you on the next one.